Good morning and welcome to the garage. We're getting ready to replace the driver's side axle shaft needle bearing. We just picked up this 2010 Toyota 4Runner for our son, and it's got 189,000 miles. It's obviously used. So driving it home, going through the neighborhood, I heard kind of a low rumble in the front. And given the history of this needle bearing failure, I already had the bushing and the tools for our other 4Runner to do it, but I'm going to go ahead and do this one first. So I suspect it might be that needle bearing that's causing the noise. I can't see anything else. The wheel bearings check good. The tires look good. There's no cupping or anything like that in the tires. So the next obvious thing to do is that needle bearing, or bushing rather, since we're already got the part and planning on doing it anyway. And I'll show you why I really do think this could be the source of the noise. All right, I do have some other disassembly under here. This cover that's under the oil pan, that does have to come off to get to your drain plug. I'm going to go ahead and drain the oil and do an oil change anyway. The oil's clean, but I don't know what kind of oil they put in it and if they even changed the filter, because it did not look like the filter or the cover underneath the filter housing had been removed. So I suspect they might have just done a drain and fill, which is not good. So I'm going to go ahead and do a full oil change. But anyway, before you start, before I forget, actually, this is the fill plug. This is your drain plug. Always make sure you can get this loose first, because if you can't get that out, you can't refill it. So always make sure this is loose first before you start. Then I would drain it and then proceed from there. But back to the point of why I think this might be what's causing the noise. Look at this play. If I can keep my hand from moving. It's quite a bit of movement. So we're going to go ahead and do the bushing. All right, so here's our kit from East Coast Gear Supply. I bought the removal tool. This is the installation tool. This wasn't described. I believe this is the seal installation tool. The orientation of the seal, you see this spring, that's going to go in the differential housing, so it's going to install that way. So I believe this tool is for the seal installation because it tucks down in there just like that. And then the bushing. So this is a I believe a bronze bushing with a steel overlay. See the two layers? The two layer side goes in the differential. You don't want to be installing from that side because you could damage this bushing. So this side faces out. This side with two layers, that goes in the differential. Okay, let's get started. All right, it was at this moment I finally have the axle ready to pull. I need to figure out my bungee situation here so I can get this farther back out of the way, but for now it's okay. So the biggest struggles that you saw really were the sway bar link and the tie rod. The sway bar link does have an Allen wrench end, so you can keep it from turning, and this wasn't working. So I ended up clamping vice grips right here. Looks like the boot is not booting anymore. All right, Wyatt, sway bar links are in your future. So anyway, I clamped vice grips here, and as you saw, I was able to get the nut off. This is typical for a 15-year-old vehicle. This one did spend 2 years, I think it was, in Indiana. So some salt exposure, not bad. And then from there, I think it went to South Carolina. I can't remember for sure. So anyway, it did have a couple of seasons of salt. So that 2 years didn't bother me, but if it had been 15, I wouldn't have bought it. And then the tie rod end, just getting this out of that hole right here. So these basically are tapered, and when you tighten it, it just clamps in that taper, and that's what holds it tight. And then also it's supposed to make it easier to get out. I did have to heat it, and as you did see, I had a little bit of a grease fire for just a second. So make sure this is out of the way before you start burning things down. So anyway, didn't hurt anything, just a little scare. So next, we're going to pull the axle and then proceed to pull the bearing out of the case. All right, the next step, let's drain the differential. Now remember, when I said make sure you can get your fill plug loose, I had more trouble getting the drain plug loose. I actually had to heat this just a bit, and it finally broke loose. So what I'm taking out is the drain plug, which is going to be the top of your screen, obviously where the ratchet is. I can get the socket back out of there. By the service records, the differential has been serviced, but well, it does look very nice and clean. I don't understand why that drain plug was so tight. It is very clean though. Whoa, there we go. All right. Let's set this aside so it can drip and make a nice little mess. All right, so I think we're going to let this drain and maybe grab some lunch. All right, so, you know, sometimes when things are just going good, you just keep on going. So off camera, I ended up pulling the axle. But the setup for this was a large clamp. It's like a hose clamp and a slide hammer from Harbor Freight. So basically I clamped, this did take 2 attempts. The first one, this came loose, and I was clamping it farther back on this part, so this came out. So the second try, I clamped it down here closer, and it worked. So it did take a bit of force to get it out of there. But the axle is out, and I think I'm just going to go ahead and set up, pull the seal, and get started on this. So here we go. Okay, all right, so this is going to be a little fidgety and kind of difficult to record here, so I gotta get this seal out. I know you can do this without pulling the seal, but I have a new seal anyway, so let's go ahead and do a new seal while we're here. All right, now that I have gear oil everywhere, all right, let me make sure I didn't bump the camera. You can still see. All right, so the next step is to put a rag or something inside there before you insert the tool. And that will keep the tool from going places it shouldn't. So basically what I'm using is just a couple of these hand cleaning wipes I use. And that's too much. These are lint free. Okay, so basically what that's going to do is just keep the tool from going back in there where it shouldn't. I've got a magnet and I've got the tool itself. So let's see if we can get this in there. I can't see the bottom from where I'm at, so I do think I've got room. So basically what you're trying to do is get this tool between the bearing and I think the spider gear. I think we're close, but that top one just won't clear. So let me try something here, maybe. Tools. Aha. Let's see. Just a little tap. Okay, so next, let's thread the bolt in. Maybe that much. Okay, let's try that. That comes in like so. Okay, this is a 3/4 inch nut. Okay, so it feels like it's not lined up. I can't see a thing. Okay, I think we're moving. That was pretty easy. Just had to make one adjustment. Aha, there we go. Sweet. All right, so here's the bearing. Definitely has some play. Here's the bushing. Definitely feels tighter. Especially when you get right there. Yeah, this is loose the whole way. This one really is, there's no movement right there. Awesome. Back to assembly. Okay, so remember, man, this is really close. The orientation of your bushing, the double layer goes into the differential. So this is going to go right there, just like that. So let's see if I can knock this in. See if I can get it started. So this is where you want to be, is have everything lined up as straight as you can. Are we straight? I don't think so. Really no good way to hammer this. I don't think we're straight. Let me go into there. We are not straight. Yep. Nope. Very crooked. Crap. All right. Nope, was very crooked. Okay. Take two. All right, I think we have a better start this time. There's really no good way to knock this in. I'm using an old piece of a jack handle. Get under there and see if we're still straight. Sorry. Nope. Take three. All right, I made a slight adjustment and we are headed in. Go take a closer look. Whew. All right. Another 1/4 of an inch. This tool will bottom out. So I believe that's going to indicate your stopping point. When the tool bottoms out. There's a joke in there. Okay. I'll check again. Sorry for the noise. Okay. Nope, still a little ways to go. Oh, it's getting up and down. Here we go. The farther it goes, the more resistance there is. Getting close. Okay, now that I'm wore out, let's try this. Just no good way to hammer this. All right, almost there. And still almost there. Maybe a couple more. Oh, I think we're there. It's not quite flush. I'm pretty sure probably sound like I ran a marathon. Yep. That's why it's called work. It ain't easy. All right, here we go. One more. Or three. All right, I think that is where we need to stop. I'm going to clean out that channel. There's just some little bit of metal shavings. Almost looks like hair, just where that was started crooked. Shaved a little bit of the outside of that outer casing off. You can probably see it right there. Oh, there's a piece there too. So I'm gonna make sure I clean all of this out and hopefully not stab myself. Metal splinters are the worst. Okay, I think I've got them all. Uh-oh. I said these were lint free, but apparently they're not. I think that's okay. All right, I think we're good. That's flush. All right, let's put the seal in. And then next goes the axle. Cool. All right, off camera, I did put a light coat of Permatex Ultra Gray where the seal goes in. And just to recap, this lip that goes out, or in the floor, whichever you choose. You can throw it in the floor or you can put it in the differential, your choice. So the tool, I took the end off of it, just an Allen head screw, and where the lip goes, this rides right in there. I'm going to see if I can get this seal in. I'm not sure that I need this piece, but let's see if I can at least get it started under there. Uh-oh. Like I said, throw it on the floor if you want. It's your seal. All right, if I can stop dropping this thing. That's gonna go like so. So let's see if we can get this in. Uh-oh. much easier than the bushing. Alright, so you can hear the change in the tone, and that means the tool has bottomed out and your seal is in. So, yep, just for giggles. All right, I think we're in. All right, so there's our seal. Now I'm going to take some gear oil off of the old seal and just put right in here. Just to make it easier for the axle to go in. Okay, so now I am ready to install the axle. So basically at this point I am just fighting the snap ring. I gotta get this past, get the snap ring started. Oops, there's that bar again. There we go. Back under again just to be sure. Oh yeah. Okay, awesome. Axle is in. So basically what I did is just took this pry bar and where those notches are on the back of the axle, just tapped it in. It did not take much force at all. Now the next step is to put this part back together. Let me get set up. All right, let's get back to reassembly. Let's find our bolts, our two 19mm bolts. Whew. This was not hard. Getting up and down, going underneath and getting back out, and at 51 is not as much fun. I'm gonna bend my hook on the bungee cord. So it'll fit back through there. Okay, so there's that. Let's bring this around. Let's see. This is just kind of a, there we go. Okay, I think. Okay, so that's back through. That wasn't horrible. So basically what we're doing here is just reversing the process. And reassembly should be much easier than disassembly. These bolts on the bottom, I'm gonna put some Loctite. I put Loctite on everything, usually. Toast. Sometimes steak, you know, whatever. Pizza? Loctite's good on pizza. Alright, so let's get a bolt hopefully started here. I'm going to have to jack I did have a jack under here during disassembly, and then I took it out because it was in the way. Let's jack this up. Maybe like so. See if we can get some lined up here. Nope. Maybe one more pump. Not yet. Okay, that one's starting. That's half the battle. All right. What did I do with all of my ratchets? There's the 19. Should have a 17 over here somewhere. I'm just going to snug these. Probably right in your way. Okay, let's bring the tie rod up. Castle nut. This is probably, yeah, it's turning. So I'm going to tap this, see if I can seat that taper. Nope. Okay, let's tap it again. Okay. Be right back. All right, this is back together. And make sure you put a new cotter pin in here. That way it keeps it from backing off. This is called a castle nut because it looks like a castle. And the purpose of the cotter pin, if this nut were to start loosening It stops right here. It's a stop, basically. It says, whoa, no further, buddy. So anyway, that's what a cotter pin does. It keeps this from backing off and coming loose. Next up is the sway bar link. And I've got to remind myself I did not tighten those 2 bolts on the bottom. So the sway bar link, all right, I've got to jack this up more. Just line that up. How did I do? Oh, look at there. All right, so I'm going to have to do the vice grips again because this is turning again. Oh, way too loose. Okay, now 17 millimeter. Ow. Okay, hit my head on the fender. That's okay. Here we go. Now let's take this off and let's go back to our lower. Where's my big ratchet? There it is. Let's go back to these lower bolts and tighten them. Okay. By golly, we are finished. Except for oil. Oh, I got to put oil in the diff. Don't forget to fill your differential with oil. I'm going to wait till I get the wheel back on, get this level. I'll fill the diff. And I'm going to go ahead and change the oil. I also need to grease the drive shafts, but probably not today. Okay, that's it. Whew. Thanks for watching. Oh yeah. So I do have to put this nut back on. Don't forget that. That ought to do it. And let's put our lock. This is the same concept as the castle nut. And just put that through. It's not quite lining up, but it sure is close. Need a little hammer. Okay, here we go. Are you gonna go, little buddy? Let's try turning this. Nope. Nope. Maybe. Aha. All right. Whoops. It said no thank you. All right, so let's get this bent. Call it a day. Almost a day. I do believe that is about where that was when I started. And this cap, okay, let's see. There's a lip, little lip on these. Don't just hammer them on. Use a punch, just punch that lip. Okay. Now, other than filling the differential, this job is complete, other than the road test. We'll find out if we fixed that rumble. So I'm actually going to wrap this video up with a road test, and we'll see if it fixed it. So I'm going to go ahead and fill the diff and finish the oil, and we'll go for a ride. All right, we are on the road test, and I am pleased to report the noise is gone. So what we were hearing at about 20-30 miles an hour, there was an audible rumble in the front end, and it's gone. All right, thanks for watching so much. I appreciate you following along. And if you can, if you don't care, please share this video. Somebody else might be going through the same thing and wondering what they're experiencing or what's wrong. So it's not a serious thing. It wasn't super difficult to do. It took time. And like everything else, it takes time. But time and work. So anyway, totally worth the effort. And thanks a lot. We'll see you in the next one.